भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Creation, Chapter 10, Departure of Lord Krishna for Dwarka, Text 24. Sa vai ayam sakhi anugita satkatah सवायं सक्यनुगीत सत्कतः सवायं सखी अनुगीत सत्कथो वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः यः एकः ईशः जगत् आत्मा लीलया य एक ईशो जगदात्मलीलया य एक ईशो जगदात्मलीलया सृजति अवतियत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सवायं सक्यनुगीत सत्कतो वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः य एक ईशो जगदात्मलीलया सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सवायं सक्यनुगीत सत्कतो वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः य एक ईशो जगदात्मलीलया सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सवायं सक्यनुगीत सत्कतो वेदेषु गुह्येषु च गुह्यवादिभिः सृजत्यवत्यत्ति न तत्र सज्जते सह he why also I am this Sakhi, O my friend, Anugita described Satkatah, the excellent pastimes, Vedeshu, in the Vedic literatures, Guhyeshu, confidentially, cha as also, Ghuyavadibihi by the confidential devotees, Yaha one who, Ekaha one only, Ishaha the supreme controller, Jagat of the complete creation, Atma supersoul, Leelaya by manifestation of pastimes, Srujati creates, Avatiyati also maintains and annihilates, Na never, Tatra there, Sajjate becomes attached to. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhay Charana Arvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains and annihilates the material world, and it remains unaffected. Kindly repeat. Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains and annihilates the material world, and it remains unaffected. Purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. As it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, all the Vedic literatures are glorifying the greatness of Lord Sri Krishna. Here it is confirmed in the Bhagavatam also. The Vedas are expanded by many branches and sub-branches by great devotees and empowered incarnations of the Lord like Vyasa, Narada, Shukadeva Goswami, the Kumaras, Kapila, Prahlada, Janaka, Bali and Yamaraj. But in the Srimad Bhagavatam especially, the confidential parts of his activities are described by the confidential devotee Shukadeva Goswami. In the Vedanta Sutras or Upanishads, there is only a hint of the confidential parts of his pastimes. In such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane conception of his existence. His identity being fully spiritual, his form, name, quality and paraphernalia, etc. have been elaborately distinguished from matter, and therefore he is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. But factually, he is the Supreme Person, Bhagavan, and he is partially represented as Paramatma or impersonal Brahman. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarne. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here the ladies of the Hastinapur are glorifying the Lord. In continuation of the glorification in this verse, they are saying to each other that here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of the Vedic literature. The Lord's pastimes are described in the confidential parts of the Vedic literature. And who is describing it? By his great devotees. The Lord, activities, pastimes, confidential activities are described in the confidential parts of the Vedic literature by the Lord's great devotees. It is He only who creates, maintains and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. He is the creator, maintainer and annihilator of the whole material creation, but still He remains unaffected. He is not attached to all those things. He is totally unaffected by all those creations, annihilation and destruction or maintenance, whatever He does. And in the purport, Prabhupada explains in one portion, in the Vedanta Sutras or Upanishads, there is only a hint of the confidential parts of the pastimes. In the Vedanta Sutra and Upanishad, there is only a hint of the confidential parts of the Lord's pastimes. In such Vedic literatures as the Upanishads, the Lord has expressively been distinguished from the mundane conception of His existence. Especially in the Upanishad, the Lord has been expressively distinguished from the mundane conception of His existence. His identity being fully spiritual, His form, name, quality and paraphernalia, etc. have been elaborately distinguished from matter. The Lord's identity, the Lord's form, name, quality, paraphernalia, etc. has been elaborately distinguished from matter. Just like if you describe a person, materially if you describe a person, we'll describe the quality and activities of that person that is pertaining to the body, material body. Such and such person did such and such activity. Such a person looks like this. He can be identified like this by his color, by his form. That is, we give the material identification for a person. But in Upanishad, the spiritual identification of the form, name, quality and paraphernalia of the Lord is described. His identity being fully spiritual, His form, name, quality and paraphernalia, etc. have been elaborately distinguished from matter, and therefore He is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. Because He is completely elaborately distinguished from matter, sometimes He is misunderstood to be as the Lord is formless. He is an imperson. He does not have a body. But factually He is the Supreme Person, Bhagavan, and He is partially represented as Paramatma or impersonal Brahman. His actual identity is Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And His partial representations are the Paramatma and the impersonal Brahman. So, in context with this, if you see in the Upanishad, Ishopanishad, in the 8th mantra, it describes about the Lord's identity. What is that? Or the qualities of the Lord are described in that. Spiritual qualities of the Lord are described. It says, Sapariyagat shukram akayam avranam asnaviram shuddham apapaviddam kavir manishi paribhu swayambhur yathata tatyo arthan vyadadat shashvatibhya samabhyaha. Here, Shukram means the omnipotent. The Lord is omnipotent. And Akayam means Akayam means unembodied. It does not have a body. Asnaviram. Asnaviram means without reproach. Asnaviram means without veins. Just like we have body, veins, blood veins are there, nerves are there. So here it is described, his body is without veins. Shuddham is antiseptic, means is completely pure. There is no tinge of contamination in him. He is Shuddham. Apapaviddham, Prabhupada translates it as prophylactic. Even Shuddham word, Prabhupada doesn't directly say as pure. Prabhupada says antiseptic. Apapaviddham, Kavihi, omniscient. Manishi, philosopher. Paribhuhu, the greatest of all. Swayambhu, self-sufficient. So these are the qualities that has been described about the Lord. So here it is said the Lord is unembodied. It does not have any body. And he is Asnaviram. It does not have any veins. So as Prabhupada said in the purport, he is sometimes misunderstood by less intelligent persons as impersonal. So when some less intelligent person come across these definitions, they'll certainly think the Lord does not have body. He does not have, he is an imperson. He does not have any form. But actually the Lord has spiritual body. And spiritual body does not need to have all these veins, blood, bones, nerves, all those things. Just like we describe ourselves, we are not this body, Atma. For the body to remain alive, Atma is required. But that Atma also has, Prabhupada says, spiritual body. And that spiritual body is covered by a material body, and so we have accepted this material body. But when the Lord, for the Lord, he does not accept a material body. Whenever he descends to the material world, he descends with a spiritual form as it is, without accepting any material form. And so, when the Upanishads and Vedas describes the form of the Lord, they describe like this, that he is unembodied, he does not have veins, means he does not accept any material form. Rather, he descends himself originally with a spiritual body. So it is not so easy to understand, like even in the Bhagavatam it says, Janmadasya to anvayad. The whole creation, the whole universe are coming out of the body of the Lord. It describes from the pores of the body of the Lord, the whole creations are coming out. So how to understand this? We cannot even imagine a person who is not having material form and all those things. We cannot imagine the planets and universe coming out of the body of a person. Shri Shri Radha Govind ki jai. We cannot imagine a person who does not have a body made of blood, veins and muscles. We cannot imagine a person who is fully cognizant of everything that is happening in the whole creation. We are just cognizant of what is happening around us, that's all. But the Lord is cognizant of whatever is happening within the whole creation, in any nook and corner of the creation, anything is happening, the Lord will know about it. He is all cognizant. And he is completely pure without any contaminations. We cannot imagine a person who is completely pure without any contamination. So it's beyond our imagination, it's beyond our sense perception, it's beyond our purview of intelligence. But how to understand that person then, who is beyond our imagination? We can just understand by the words of the Lord himself, by the words of the Lord's representative. Just like Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 18th chapter, Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavan yaschasmi tattvataha tato mam tattvato gnatva vishate tadanantaram. Here the Lord is describing how one can understand him. How one can understand? One can understand the Supreme Personality as he is only by devotional service. We can understand that Supreme Personality of Godhead who is inconceivable, who is beyond our sense perception, who is beyond our intelligence, by performing devotional service. These are the statement of the Lord himself. How you can understand me? Only by devotional service. Without bhakti, you cannot understand me. Only by devotional service, one can understand me. And when one is in full consciousness of Supreme Lord, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. It is not only understanding, realizing the Lord, but by performing bhakti, and when our consciousness becomes completely full of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, then we can enter into the kingdom of God. Not only just understanding, but we can enter into the kingdom of God and stay with the Lord. How? By bhakti. So, now, what is this bhakti? What is devotional service? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is described, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described as Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripambadelyastamam Prapadde. So, that inconceivable person, if you want to perform devotional service, you should know how to perform devotional service. And to teach us how to perform devotional service, the Lord himself came, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari. Lord Sri Krishna, accepting the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and describing Bhakti Yoga. And what is that Bhakti Yoga? Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga starts with detachment. With full attachment, one cannot perform bhakti. Attachment to so many things material, and at the same time perform bhakti. You cannot attain the pure devotional service in that way. In the starting, we can perform devotional service with attachments, but as we progress in devotional service, we will develop that vairagya. The definition of bhakti here is started by Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. And that Vairagya Vidya of Nija Bhakti Yoga is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord himself in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself came and started teaching the devotees how to perform devotion unto the Lord. And that is not devotion with all mixed of so many things. The Lord is teaching pure devotional service without any contamination. And so when Rupa Goswami further describes about bhakti in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion, he writes in 2 verses the definition of bhakti. What is that? Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. First he gives the definition of bhakti as Sarva upadi vinirmuktam. Upadi means designations. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam. Vinirmuktam means giving up. By giving up all the designations. Designations means I am this body, I am American, I am Indian, I am man, I am husband, I am wife, I am woman. This is the normal materialistic. If you go a little further, I am a great devotee, I am Guru. This is also Upadi. It is not pure. So, Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. When we give up all those upadis, nirmalam will become nirmala. Having those contaminations, we cannot call ourselves pure. And with those contaminations, when we perform devotional service, we cannot call that as pure devotion. To start bhakti, first we should give up upadis. I am not this body, I am spirit soul. On the other hand, to understand that I am spirit soul, servant of Krishna, that is not upadi. That is our constitutional position. As a soul, I am servant of Krishna, part and parcel of Krishna. So that is not upadi. But to accept ourselves as I am this body and the bodily designations as described just now, those things should be given up. And after giving up all those upadis, designations, when we become pure, rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhakti ruchyate. When we serve the rishikesha with the senses, that is bhakti. So, with that contamination we serve Lord. Of course, that will lead us to the purification. But that cannot be called as pure devotion. When we give up all those contamination, completely become pure and perform devotional service, that is pure devotional service. So this is the one definition what Rupa Goswami gives, and one more is Anyabilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavrutam Anukulena Krishnanushilanam Bhaktiruttama. Anyabilashita Shunyam, giving up all desires. Abhilasha, Anya Abhilasha. Shunyam, giving up all other desires pertaining to the body, whatever upadis we have. Desires towards the upadis. Giving up all those desires. Jnana karmadi anavrutam. Without any tinge of jnana karma. without any contamination of gnana and karma. Anukulena Krishnanushilanam, when we perform favorable devotional service to the Lord, accepting things favorable and rejecting things unfavorable. When we perform favorable devotional service to the Lord, that is called as Uttama Bhakti. So, to perform devotional service, to perform bhakti, we should give up designations, we should give up the desires in relation to those designations. And in that pure consciousness, when we completely give up all those designations and desires, in that pure consciousness, when we perform devotional service with our senses in a favorable way, accepting things favorable for Krishna consciousness and rejecting things unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. In that consciousness, when we perform devotional service, that is Uttama Bhakti. So, these are the definitions about bhakti given in the scriptures, taught by us, by the acharyas. But Prabhupada also quoted in relation to whatever we are currently going on with the debate of guruship. Prabhupada also many places quote, you should become guru, you should become guru. And others are telling, yes, Prabhupada is telling we should become guru, we should become guru. So here it says, Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam, give up all designation. But taking that designation, we should become guru and perform devotion. How can it be pure? And they quote the famous verse of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Yare dekho tare ko ho, Krishna upadesh, Amara agya guru ho yar. So, if you just see that verse, in which context Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that verse, it is actually when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was on the tour of South India, he come across a Brahmana, and that Brahmana will meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, after meeting the Lord, that Brahmana will invite the Lord to his home. The Brahmana brought Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to his home, washed his lotus feet, and with his family members drank that water with great affection and respect. That Kurma Brahmana, the Brahmana name will be Kurma, made Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu eat all kinds of food. After that, the remnants were shared by all the members of the family. The Brahmana then began to pray. After serving the Lord, inviting the Lord, feeding him and serving him, the Brahmana will pray to the Lord, O my Lord, your lotus feet are meditated upon by Lord Brahma, and these very lotus feet have come into my home. So the Brahmana will be aware of the position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as the Lord. So he says, your lotus feet are meditated by Brahma, and those lotus feet have come to my home. There is no limit to my great fortune. I cannot be described. It cannot be described. Today my family, birth and riches have all been glorified. The Brahmana begged Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, kindly show me favor and let me go with you. The Brahmana will become so attached to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so he begs the Lord, give me permission so that I will also join you, I will come with you. I can no longer tolerate the waves of misery caused by materialistic life. I can no longer tolerate the materialistic misery. He is a family person, householder. So he is telling, I cannot tolerate the waves of misery of the materialistic life. I want to just come with you and be with you for the rest of my life. To this, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Prabhu kahe, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, don't speak like that again. Better to remain at home and chant the holy name of Krishna always. Don't speak like this. Better remain at home and chant Hare Krishna Mantra always. Next verse Prabhupada says, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Yare deka tare kaha Krishna upadesh, amara agnya guruhana tara edesh. Here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, instruct everyone to follow the orders of Lord Sri Krishna as they are given in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, become a spiritual master and try to liberate everyone in this land. So in this context, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, to a Brahmana who is a householder who wanted to give up everything and come with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to that person Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, no need to come with me, you stay at home, chant Hare Krishna Mantra, teach this to your family members, teach this to the others. And in that way become a guru. And liberate the people who are along with you. That is, teach bhakti in this way and make your life successful, make others' life successful. That doesn't mean immediately you start accepting disciple, construct a Vyasasana, sit on it and accept disciple and become a Diksha Guru. That is not the context. He is a Brahmana, he is a householder. In the next verse also, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu further advised the Brahmana Kurma, if you follow this instruction, your materialistic life at home will not obstruct your spiritual advancement. If you follow like this, materialistic life will not obstruct your spiritual life. Where here instruction is given for him to accept disciple. It is just teach this to the others, in that way you become Guru. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here saying Guru Hana means don't accept the Upadhi and become Guru and start perform devotional service. No. Practice devotional service, giving up all Upadhis. Teach this to others, in that way you become Guru. Anybody can do that. Right? Teaching to others. Even a person whose first day he comes to ISKCON, he reads something, he hears from us something. He'll start chanting on round. And at home he goes, and to any person who meets, he may tell the same thing. And in that way, he can become Guru. But become Guru, when it is said, it does not mean accept disciple. Become Guru in the sense, teach this to others. Teach this philosophy to the others. Become a teacher, not a liberator. There are two things, as Prabhupada explains, Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru. And many places Prabhupada also said, become Guru, become Guru, become Guru and liberate everyone. Become Guru and teach this knowledge to others. In the sense, become a Siksha Guru. But whenever Prabhupada said, accept followers, he gives the caution, on my order. On my authorization. But to just teach, there is no, already authorization is there. Anybody can teach who knows about Krishna, who has heard from the bona fide Acharya, he can teach. There is one more very beautiful Prabhupada Leela from the Leelamrita of Prabhupada. One of the devotee, Yashodanandan Prabhu, he remembers this. Prabhupada's room at the Radha Damodar temple in Vrindavan. You can see behind there were little holes that let the wind come through, and you can actually see behind in the courtyard. So Radha Damodar temple, Prabhupada Bhajan Kutir was there, and behind the Bhajan Kutir there was a courtyard. So Shyam Sundar's daughter Saraswati, there was one disciple's daughter Saraswati, Shyam Sundar Prabhu and Malti Mataji. Their daughter Saraswati, she was pulling on the shirt of a little Bengali gentleman, and she was telling the gentleman, she was playing there, and she met a Bengali person, and she started pulling his shirt, and she was telling, "Who is Krishna? Do you know who is Krishna?" So she is asking that person, "Do you know who is Krishna?" And the gentleman had this amused look on his face. He was surprised. What is this? She is asking like this. Saraswati may have been 4 or 5 years old at the time. She was very young, small baby, 4 or 5 years old girl. And she is telling, "Do you know who is Krishna?" Prabhupada was looking, and we were looking, and the man was amused that this little girl would ask him that. Then she told him, because he was silent, he was little amused what to say, he didn't know immediately. So she only gave the answer. "Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should surrender to Him." 4 or 5 years old girl, she is telling that person, "Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you should surrender to Him." And Prabhupada said, "Just see, she is Guru." See, Prabhupada is telling that 4-year girl, she is Guru. That doesn't mean she should sit on Vyasasana and accept disciple. She is preaching about Krishna, she is Guru. Anyone who preaches about Krishna, he is a Guru. So whenever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Amara Agnay Guru ho yaar," it doesn't mean that become a Diksha Guru, make a Vyasasana and accept disciple. It means teach this Krishna consciousness, teach this bhakti to everyone. And it is not just devotional service, means we should perform devotion with giving up all the upadhis, not accepting all the upadhis. We see the example of all the Goswamis, all the acharyas. How did they perform devotional service? They didn't perform devotional service accepting the upadhis, accepting the designations. They performed devotional service giving up all the upadhis. In the same way, Prabhupada also wanted everyone to follow the same principle, give up all the upadhis and preach Krishna consciousness. But in the presence of Prabhupada only, everyone started accepting the upadhi. I am Guru, accepting disciples. And Prabhupada many times warned, you cannot do this. In the presence of your Acharya, you cannot accept disciple. So even though Prabhupada wanted his disciples to take over the position of Prabhupada, accept disciple, and he was training them, Prabhupada was telling, I am training you. I will authorize some of you. But just wait, don't rush. But none of them waited. They just wanted to accept that upadhi. So performing devotional service, the more we perform devotional service, the more we become distasteful for all these things. We'll become completely distasteful for all material activities. But we are performing devotional service and we still have the taste for all these things, means we are not completely performing pure devotional service. We still have taste for all these upadhis, means it is not pure. Still we have contaminations within us. So the more we perform devotional service, like we say pure devotee. What does it mean, pure devotee? Prabhupada says, devotee should not have any ambition in life. He should not have any ambition in life. Then I should serve Krishna to keep a desire. I want to serve Krishna. Isn't that an ambition? No. Because that is our natural constitutional position. We being part and parcel of Krishna, to serve Krishna is our natural position. It is not an ambition in life. Just like if the hand says, I want to serve the body, that's not something special. The hand is meant to serve the body. If the hand says, I want to serve the body, there is nothing special in that. It is meant to serve, it should serve. So in the same way, the soul, we being part and parcel of Krishna, thinking or assuming I want to serve Krishna, that is not an ambition in life. But anything else apart from this, if you think, it is an ambition. And Prabhupada says, we should not have any ambition in life. So performing bhakti means to become completely free from all these ambitions, upadhi, desires, everything. And what we will become? I will become servant of Krishna. The more we perform devotional service, the more service we do for Krishna as a servant. Right? And a pure devotee means he is a pure servant of Krishna. If I say, I am a pure devotee of the Lord, what is that? That's a designation. I am keeping myself, I am a devotee, I am a pure devotee. But pure devotee is not a designation on its own. It's a service to the Lord. Pure devotee, when one completely gives up all these things, upadhis, and serves the Lord as a menial servant. In the material world, if a person works in a company, the more he works, the more he spends his years in the company, the more experience he gets and the more position he gets. But in spiritual world, the more we serve Krishna, the more humble we become. The more devotion we develop for Krishna, the more humble we should become. It is not that we become pride. When we say, I am a pure devotee, it is not that we raise our chest and head and say, I am a pure devotee. No. When we say, I am a devotee, I am a devotee. The more humble, by our humility we should show that we are a devotee. By our service to Krishna we should show that we are a devotee. Not by boasting ourselves, I am a devotee of Lord. That is not devotion. So if at all we want to perform devotional service, we should follow the instructions of Guru and Krishna. In that way, when we follow devotional service, giving up all the upadhis and desires, that is the way we can attain the pure devotion. Not by otherwise. By our own mental concoction, speculation, assuming things to be like this or like that, we cannot perform devotional service. We should just accept the words of the acharyas as the authoritative words, as the instructions, and follow it and just perform devotional service. That is the way one can perform devotion, and that is the way to realize that Supreme Person who is inconceivable. Not otherwise. We'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad